Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Bunnies on BZCast. I am your host Randy. This is the official podcast of BunniesOn.com. BunniesOn.com, of course, as you guys all know, is the awesome bunny magazine, bunny website that does a bunny magazine, monthly magazine. Today's recording is being done on October 4th, and that means just 3 days ago as I'm recording this, a new issue dropped on the 1st of the month. Make sure you guys check it out. It's a very fun Halloween edition. When you guys share it, when you guys, tell other people about it, share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, retweet it, like it. It really, really helps us. The downloads really, really help Bunnies On, and our goal is to help bunnies. So, guys, downloading that e-magazine really does help us help bunnies, and that's the ultimate goal. Bunnies On, you can find us on Facebook.com at just Bunnies On, on Instagram at Official BZine. No, Twitter is at Official BZine, and then Instagram is Official Bunnies On. For this particular, our podcast, which is the Bunnies On BZCast, as you guys know that are listening, we have a YouTube channel, Bunnies on BZCast. We are Bunnies on BZCast also on SoundCloud.com and on iTunes in the podcast section. Again, for anyone who really doesn't, I hear this from people all the time. The podcast part on your iPhone or iPad is that little purple microphone app on your Apple device. You click that, you go to the search bar, you type in Bunnies on BZCast, and you'll find this show and the previous 26 episodes. I believe this is episode 27 as I'm recording this. Leave a review. Please download and share it with your friends. Thank you guys for listening. I do have a guest that I will be bringing in a few minutes. There was a couple of things I did want to address. As the last podcast recording didn't go very well, I addressed it on YouTube. There were a couple of complicated things that I wanted to straighten out with you guys before we moved along into the episode. This episode. There was an issue with the video file. It was an issue on my end, and my computer just wasn't working well with it, and neither was YouTube. So the last recording did not make YouTube. It just went on SoundCloud and iTunes, and it's probably a good thing. And some of you were probably confused because I uploaded the apology video a day after, or the day after. The recording, I think it was the day of the recording was released. It was like the later in the night. So if you're confused about what happened when you saw the apology video, if you're someone who's on our YouTube channel and just uses YouTube, first of all, thank you for listening. You were probably confused of why you saw an apology video for a podcast that didn't get uploaded. So I'll briefly sum it up. I made a podcast. I did a podcast recording a week and a half ago. 10, 12 days ago from this recording. It was wrong. I was making wrong accusations towards a rescue. And the apology video was to kind of straighten things out with the rescue and straighten things out with the audience. For everyone who's listening after that fact, thank you for still listening. I received from that recording, I know you could say, and these are two local rescues that I not made up, but I misread as having problems with each other, as having petty problems with each other, to where my message in that podcast recording was that don't let your problems get in the way of what's most important, and that's, rescuing the bunnies and making sure the bunnies are safe and well. And I misread that situation. It was I did not fact check with all parties involved. After I did, the remaining part of that is in the apology video. So go to our YouTube channel, and go to Bunny's on BZCast, you'll see a video. It's like 12 minutes long, maybe 12, 13 minutes long, where I talk about what I'm apologizing for and what it all means. I just wanted to straighten that out a little bit before I brought my guest in. And if you have any questions, if you want to talk more, I've emailed a few people and have not heard back from them, which is okay. I have no problem with that. I got so many emails and like phone calls about that situation. I was on the phone for hours because it was just a hot mess. And apparently a lot of people in the area listen. I did not know that beforehand because I don't receive many emails at all from other recordings. But you know, if I start a verbal fire with accusations and other things, then everyone and their mother apparently now listens to the podcast or went out of their way to listen to the podcast and then email me their frustrations about it. This is how the world works, I guess. Again, if you want to email the show, bunnyzioncast@gmail.com. That's bunnyzioncast@gmail.com. I am more than, I'm completely open to talking more about the subject or just talking about anything else. If you want to email the show, you have a topic for the show, you have an idea for a guest, I am all ears to your guys' opinions and what you guys think would be a good idea for the show. Again, that's bunnyzioncast@gmail.com. As I said in the beginning, and I got into that stupid little spew rant about the last podcast. I'm done talking about the last podcast episode. I do have a guest today from someone from a local rescue. It's a rescue that I've admired for a few years now, and all the work that they do in the Chicagoland area and beyond. It's pretty incredible. I have mentioned them. I'm in at least, I don't know, 5 or 6 other episodes when talking to other guests. And other guests, they're just pretty recognizable even outside of the Chicagoland area. And I'm excited to finally have someone on as to talk about their rescue. So I would like to bring in Tony of Red Door Animal Shelter. Tony, how are you?
I'm great, Randy. Thanks for having me on today.
Oh, no problem at all. I've been really looking forward to doing this episode for a long time. So, Tony, provide the audience, mostly with people, I think a lot of people in the Chicagoland area know who Red Door is, know your guys' work, but provide some, some background for our other listeners.
Sure. Red Door's been in the rescue community in Chicago for 16 years. It originally started out as a dog and cat rescue, but then our shelter president, Marcia Coburn, she lived in the neighborhood and happened to be walking by and stopped at the shelter and said, "Hey, why don't you guys consider rescuing rabbits?" And she soon volunteered there and worked her way up to be president of the board. And now we're most well known for having rabbits. We get calls every day for people who want to give up rabbits or have questions about how to care properly for bunnies, or they've spotted one in their yard and they need help catching it. And we're there. We're there to help.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna go deeper into the rescue work and how you guys just managed to pull all of that off in a little bit. But you mentioned in the beginning about having dogs and cats, primarily in the beginning having dogs and cats, and then going to bunnies. What is, for someone in the rescue work that is working when managing different animals, what kind of difficulty is that?
Well, at the shelter we have cats and rabbits, and sometimes we will take in ducks and chickens as well, and we don't really have much issue with that. Our cats are free range in the shelter, and they get along just fine with our bunnies. We don't allow the kittens to be in the same room with rabbits just because they can play a little too rough, but the cats and rabbits seem to get along just fine. However, whenever we have a dog rescue, the dogs can't stay at the shelter because we don't want to upset the rabbits. The neighbors don't like the barking, so we rely strictly on foster homes for dogs. So everything is kind of peaceful, with the multi-species in the shelter.
Okay, that sounds really, really good. So do you find because as you said, the rabbits and the bunnies seem to get along very well, do you find that when people adopt bunnies from you guys and they already have like a cat, maybe even a dog at home, that they seem to get it well, like from the people that adopt from you guys, from adoptees?
Yes, a lot of our rabbit adopters will have cats. Cats and rabbits make friends, or most of the time they're just sort of indifferent towards each other. Now, if we get an adopter who has a dog, we're a little more thorough. We may have to do a home inspection after the interview. We often ask the family to bring in something that smells like their dog to our shelter so we can see how each of our individual rabbits will react to that smell. I find that some rabbits will sniff the dog collar and stump and run away, and some will just sniff it and be totally indifferent. And those are the rabbits that we'll sort of steer the adopter towards. There are certain breeds of dogs that we don't think are compatible with rabbits. Any breeds that are hunting dogs, any dog with a strong prey drive, probably is not going to be a good match for a bunny. And there are some dogs that are going to be afraid of the rabbit. Some rabbits are bigger than dogs, and they're just not quite sure what they are. They can tell that they're different than the rabbits outside. So when we do the interview, we have to ask a lot of questions about the dog's personality, the dog's daily habits, how the dog is housed. Now, with a cat, we just generally recommend that the rabbit has his own private area for the first few weeks until they sort of acclimate to their new environment, and then slow introduction to the cat. With the dog, we do recommend that they just be kept separate for an extended period of time, a couple months, until the rabbit is completely comfortable, and then we will consult with our dog trainer on how to best introduce that particular dog to one of our rabbits.
Okay, that sounds pretty good and pretty thorough. We'll go into more of Red Door and its work in the community, and work with other rescues, and work with pretty much the Chicagoland area. I have mentioned this in previous episodes of the recording. I can't tell you guys an exact number of which episode it was, but if you've been listening, you guys have heard me mention Red Door before. That Red Door has the bunnies that have been brought in since Easter. Bunnies, found on the street. I can't remember. I want to say right now it's 37, 38. I might be a little off.
Yep, 37. Number 38 will get posted tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. So for the people that aren't aware and haven't listened before, and there is a number that Red Door posts every time since Easter. They go off since Easter date. They post the number of bunnies that have been brought into their shelter, whether it's by them themselves, a group of people that have been rescued off the streets. What was the number last year going into this year's Easter?
I think it was in the 80s. I can't remember exactly, but it was pretty high last year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it fluctuates a little bit every year, but I feel that the more people know about Red Door and about our stray rescue program, that we get more calls. People are a little bit more informed that white rabbit shouldn't be outside, that something needs to be done. We should call somebody.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to talk about, was the impact of that count when someone who might not know what, someone who's not in the bunny world, as I like to call it, not involved, excuse me, in the bunny world, um, especially with, like a brown bunny, might not know that that's a domesticated rabbit. Um, I was gonna, with the people that are bringing them in. Do you see them more as, like? Do you talk to these people, and what do they say when they bring in the bunny?
Well, most of the time we'll get an email or a phone call,
Okay.
and somebody has spotted a rabbit in their yard or somewhere where it's not supposed to be. Most people don't feel comfortable trying to catch the rabbit themselves, and that's when we will post it to Facebook and Twitter. Social media is awesome for organizing rescue. We'll say, okay, this bunny was seen at this time on this day and this location. Who can meet us at 5 o'clock tomorrow night? Because we do need usually 3 to 4 people to catch a rabbit. Sometimes it's an easy catch. The bunny is just waiting to be rescued, and sometimes they make us chase them for blocks. Now, when somebody calls and says, yeah, I saw this white bunny 2 days ago under the car, down the block, chances are that rabbit's going to be in that same spot or in the near vicinity. They don't wander too far when they're stray outside because they're prey animals, so they're scared. So they'll be local. So we've always had a pretty good success rate. If somebody reports a rabbit outside and we send a crew out, I'd say 90% of the time we've found the rabbit and got him back to our shelter safely.
That's pretty incredible. Now you guys, when you communicate, because I think, it was relatively recently that there was one in Joliet, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, for people that don't know the Chicagoland area, how far would you say Joliet is from the city of Chicago?
Oh, goodness. I'm going to guess maybe 40, 50 miles.
Okay. When let's say, for example, we'll go back to that situation, because I briefly remember seeing the bunny, and was the bunny named Joliet afterwards?
Yes.
Okay. I noticed that with your guys' rescues that you named the bunny after. I just saw yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, the little black bunny named after Thunder, because he was left out in the rain. That made me so upset, but I was also happy that he was okay.
Yeah, he's just a little baby. Just a little baby. Couldn't be more than like 6 to 8 weeks old.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's amazing that you guys found him. But going back to the Joliet situation, how you received the phone call, you received the email, and you know that you've got in a time frame, maybe an hour, a little over an hour drive. I'm kind of just winging that time. Probably over an hour, if I had to guess, to Joliet. Do you guys have contacts in different areas, in different towns in the Chicagoland area, or does someone from Red Door just or a group of people go to that area from Chicago?
Well, it really depends on the location, and that's why we'll post it immediately to Facebook. And if the location is far out from the city, if it's in the suburbs or downstate, we may have people that follow us on Facebook that are like, hey, I only live 10 minutes away. I'll meet you guys and help you. And you don't have to be rabbit savvy to help us catch a bunny. Sometimes it's just a matter of having people to place strategically around the rabbit so we can corral it.
Yeah.
In the case with the Joliet rabbit, Red Door posted it and was organizing it, but I have to give props to the people with Bun and House Rabbit Society, and a young lady named Lori Ann who really went above and beyond to catch that rabbit out there. because it was such a distance from the city, I wasn't able to go out on that rescue myself. And so most of our volunteers here in the city, unfortunately, don't drive. So we were very fortunate to have people in the western and southern suburbs that were saying, "Hey, we're available. What time are we meeting? We're gonna rescue this guy." And unfortunately, the little guy didn't make it. He was really sick. He had been out there a long time and had a lot of parasites, exposure, infections. But at least he got to pass away in comfort. And he had a name and was loved for those few minutes when he was with people who cared.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. I remember reading that story, and I apologize for that because I did not remember reading that he had passed. I probably had just missed that post. But I do remember reading the story, and that is still really incredible of you guys to, at the very least of what you can do is, give them a subtle and peaceful passing.
Yes.
Which, again, in this kind of world where, so many bunnies are out there all the time, and are just barely getting by, sick or injured. It's, I don't even know how to word it. It's at least something, it's at least something for them, for the bunnies.
Yeah, because it breaks my heart to think of all the ones out there that nobody notices, we don't know about. They have to die alone out there. So it's always a joy for us to be able to go out and rescue these rabbits and provide them with comfort and food and warmth and whatever medicines they need to be comfortable to take away their pain. And they're very grateful. Some of them might be feisty when we try to catch them, but once they get to the shelter, within 24 hours, they're like, "Hey, this is pretty nice.
Yeah.
I've got wet meals and a nice warm bed. This is awesome."
Yeah. So for the people that are listening, what would you recommend for them to do? Because you guys are so open about your procedure and how everything is done with people on Facebook and Twitter. So I would personally definitely recommend, if not just talking with people living in Illinois, but people living in other states and other countries, I think it's definitely worth the phone call, even if you're not 100% sure. Because I will see that on like the Facebook pages, like the House Rabbit Society group pages. There's like 7,000 people in there, where they'll post a picture of their bunny and a bunny, like a brown bunny in the backyard, and they're kind of not sure if it's domesticated, it's a domestic or a wild rabbit. And people are going back and forth on the comments, and they're not sure. So for everyone that's listening, definitely, if you think, that you see the ones that will stand out more than the others, obviously the white bunnies, black bunnies, I'm not going to list off all the colors and the breeds, but you guys know what I mean. It's mostly, I would say, I could see it as something where people get the wild and that are the light brown and the light black kind of mixed up. Tony, do you ever hear about that as, or do you see that as an issue?
I have many stories. There are certain coat colorings called agouti that look just like wild rabbits, and it can be difficult to tell them apart from the wild cottontails. And we'll get photos from people. They're not sure, is it wild, is it domestic? And the first thing I do is, when I look at the photos, I'll look to see the shape of the rabbit's head. Hopefully I can see their legs to see, what their haunches and their hind legs look like. Cottontails tend to have longer, more muscular legs in back, and they're going to have a longer, more narrow face. Now, that being said, there's some domestic rabbits. They're going to kind of have those same features. So if we are in doubt, we'll go out to the location and check it out. There's been many times when we've gone out and there's a rabbit exactly where the person saw it, and it's wild. Because even wild rabbits are creatures of habit, and they kind of stick to a local area, and they'll kind of hang out under the same bush or, next to an apple tree. They're going to get free food there. It's going to fall off the tree, and so if they're seen there one day, they're probably going to be seen there the next day. Now, on the flip side, we've been called out to rescue rabbits. For instance, there was a little white rabbit. It was just a baby. We had half a dozen volunteers on 3 different days out there trying to catch this rabbit. And it would give us a big chase. And the way it ran like a wild rabbit. It would parkour off of houses, in the garage, doing backflips. And most domestic rabbits don't do that. And so, I was like, this is a little odd, because we usually catch them pretty quick. Once they're spotted, we can corner them, corral them, and get them to safety. And so I did a little research, and I've come to find out that it is a genetic anomaly in a cottontail. They'll be white with black eyes. It's called a leucistic. A leucistic cottontail. Rather than having the red eyes, they have black eyes. So sometimes you'll see a white squirrel with black eyes.
Yeah.
We've been out a couple times where there have been beige or tan rabbits, and they were also leucistic, just some sort of genetic anomaly, and they may look like a pet rabbit, but they're actually wild. So that's kind of throwing us off, because that's been kind of happening more often. And I went out to look for a rabbit last summer, and it had a white blaze down its forehead. It was an adult rabbit. It was a cottontail, but it had this white patch on its head, which is very, very unusual. And I wasn't sure myself if it was wild or not. But then when I got a closer look at its back legs, I could tell that it was a cottontail. And I think there might be more genetic changes like that in the future. So it's always going to be a little bit tough for us to tell when they have that kind of brownish coloring. Is it wild or is it a pet?
That's really, really interesting. You're saying that it's happening. You're coming across it more as time goes on. Is it? You say it's a genetic thing, but is it possibly anything with a domesticated breeding with a wild? I don't know if that kind of thing happens.
As far as I know, the wild cottontails are a different species than pet rabbits. Most pet rabbits are of European descent. They're a European breed, and as far as I know, they can mate, but they can't produce offspring because they have a different number of chromosomes. I'm not sure. I believe the cottontails have extra chromosomes, and therefore they can't produce a viable offspring.
Okay.
I'm not 100% positive on that. Biology is not my forte, but that, I believe, is what I've read.
Okay. Well, I would assume with the extra chromosomes, that is more so being able to survive in the wild. I don't know biology either. I'm just throwing it out there. Their natural instincts and just body type, I guess, with living just flat out living in the wild. I don't know. I'm speculating. So when it comes to your guys' rescue, how can you've posted in the past? You guys have posted in the past on the different medical facilities, the hospitals that take care of the bunnies for you guys, and those are the ones that you guys are more so asking the donations for to help out with the medical bills. What is the name of the company?
Yes, all of the rabbits at Red Door are treated by Chicago Exotics, which is in Skokie, and they're wonderful. They see hundreds of rabbits every month, and they're very, very rabbit savvy. And so when we rescue a bunny outside who's really sick, they go the extra mile for us to take extra special care of this bunny because we try so hard to save them. I mean, if we've chased them down and the poor little thing is sick, we're going to do everything possible. Red Door is a no-kill shelter, so we're not going to euthanize anyone unless it's medically necessary. If the rabbit is suffering and there's nothing that can be done to ease their suffering or provide them with a quality of life, our vets will recommend euthanasia, which is, we feel, a gift that we can give the rabbit. You know, we're able to give them some peace. And luckily that doesn't happen very often. So we've had numerous rabbits who've been sick for months, but eventually they get better and they all get adopted, which is awesome.
That's good. That's really good. Is just for anyone that does that can help out, that can donate a little. I've said it a hundred times in the past. Every little bit helps. Every little penny counts. What is it? The website for Chicago Exotics?
It is Chicago. No, you know what, Randy? I'm going to have to look that up while we're talking.
It's okay.
Because it's not Chicago Exotic. It's exoticpetvet.com.
Okay.
Exoticpetvet.com. And you can essentially call them, and the receptionist will take a donation over the phone, and she'll apply it to our monthly bill. We spend thousands of dollars every month on all of our bunnies, providing, critical care as well as, make dental visits. A lot of our rabbits have heart disease, and they need maintenance every 6 months. They'll need x-rays or ultrasounds or blood work so that we can monitor their condition. I am proud of the amount of care we can provide for our rabbits. They're very special to us. For anybody that's listening, you're probably a rabbit person, and you know how special rabbits are. I just wish that the rest of the world knew that.
Yep.
And they're worth it. Some people can't believe, how much money we spend on our rabbits, but it's like they should get the same respect as dogs and cats and horses. It's like they're wonderful little animals with special souls, and they need the respect. They deserve it.
Yes, they do. They definitely do. Oh, the one thing did pop in my head that I did not mention off air to you, but I'm sure you'd be thrilled to talk about it. Is you guys like your the pictures that you guys do with the bunnies with the different background settings.
Oh yeah.
I've never gotten to do it with any of my two Moose and Nova, but it seems like a lot of fun for the people that don't know what we're talking about. Just go into it a little bit.
Well, we started having spa days for rabbits because it can be a challenge to trim your rabbit's nails or clean their ears or their scent glands. And I'm a photographer and a Photoshop artist by trade, so I had to start taking photos of the rabbits when they came in to be groomed. And it just sort of grew from there. Each time I build a small set, like a bunny-sized set. We'll have bunny-sized costumes and props, and the rabbits come in, and most of them will do their photos beforehand, because after they get their ears cleaned, their little ears are all wet and they don't photograph well, so they'll usually take their pictures first and then go get their grooming done. And it's a blast. We do it every 3 months to sort of coincide with rabbit shedding season. And we'll do ear cleaning and nail trims, mat removal, and then the glamour shots.
Awesome. And you've mentioned like the different themes. I think I could be remembering this wrong. Was there like was it Buns of Anarchy?
Yeah. That was the most recent one we had. We had Sons of Anarchy. We did Game of Thrones. On October 14th and 18th, we're going to be doing Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay.
So I'm in the process of building a special set for that.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. And it's just a really cool way for it's a fun event for the parents. Hopefully it's still really fun for the bunnies. And then as I definitely think it is. And it's also a great way for you guys to bring some people in and raise money for Red Door.
Yeah.
Which every rescue just needs donations and all the help they can get. Make sure you guys give Red Door a follow on Twitter. Red Door Animal Shelter, look them up. Give them a like on Facebook. That's what I was going to ask you. As you just mentioned, on October 14th and 18th, that you guys have the two spa days coming up. Are there any other events that you would like to talk about in maybe like November or December?
Yes. Actually, in November, we have our annual bake sale and Santa photos, and it takes place at Warren Park Fieldhouse, which is on the north side of Chicago, right off of Western Avenue. And we have an awesome Santa. He's the real deal. He's a professional Santa, and he works with dogs, cats, rabbits, guinea pigs, rats, you name it. He can handle it. So we have a big sale going on. There's arts and crafts vendors, and then the Santa photos. Please bring your bunnies out. We have a nice quiet area so they can be separate from any dogs that come in. And the bunnies seem to... well, I'll say they enjoy it, but they probably don't. Rabbits don't like to travel anywhere, like cats don't either. But it sure makes for a cute picture. And all the proceeds go to Red Door to help the dogs, cats, rabbits, and ducks and chickens as well. So anytime you participate in one of our events, all the proceeds go to the animals.
That's awesome. That's really awesome to hear. Tony, I would like to thank you very much for coming on and talking about Red Door and talking about not just talking about Red Door, but all the work that you guys do in the community for the bunnies, the Chicagoland area. I know I've said that like 5 times now, but I mean, you guys really, really cover a lot of ground. And a big shout out to the people that, that respond to those Facebook and Twitter posts and go out there and go and help out, to all the volunteers. That's pretty incredible work. Tony, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me, Randy.
You have a nice night.
You too.
Bye-bye. I'd like to thank Tony of Red Door Animal Shelter for again coming on, guys. Again, I've talked about them so much in the past. I just have so much respect for the amount of work that they do in the community in the Chicagoland area, and I think it's very important to. The other reason I talked about Red Door is that to maybe get people to be more active and to be more, not just to be more active. We of course all want that for everyone to be more active in the bunny community, to do a little bit of something, but to be a little more aware, be more on the lookout. And if you see a bunny, even if it's briefly see bunny, to give your local rescue call, give your whoever can help you out, your local rescue, whether it's an HRS rescue, a shelter, give them a call. You never know what could happen. You never know. You could, you see that bunny, you could save that bunny's life. The count, again, visit their Facebook page and you guys will know what I'm talking about the literal since Easter rescue count. It is as I'm saying this, and it's going to be 38. It could be in the 40s, which is it's frustrating, but it's a prime example that it reminds people the amount of people how much rabbits are abandoned, because I think it's a misconception with people that aren't in bunny rescue or that don't adopt bunnies that maybe it's not like that. There's not as many as like wild cats or wild dogs or strays running around. In this case, hopping around. But it kind of reminds people that there are a lot of bunnies out there, and they need to be taken care of. They need to be brought in. They need a clean bill of health to survive, and they do not belong out in the wild. So again, I hope that's a perfect thing for you guys to go off of. Again, for email the show is bunnyzioncast@gmail.com, bunnyzioncast@gmail.com. If you want to talk about this episode, talk about anything else, I am more than welcome to read your guys' emails and have a conversation. Or any ideas for the show, I am all ears to listen to that. I'm sorry, guys. I was dealing with like a weird scratchy thing going out of my throat as I'm yawning in the middle of the podcast. It is almost 9 p.m. my time. One thing I did want to say, you guys, I feel kind of dumb in saying it because I think it's going to be before this recording is even out, or it could be afterwards, that I am going to do a recording on the House Rabbit Society summer journal. I did get it in the mail, I think it was like a month ago, and I never did a recording on that. I posted on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram that I would be doing a recording on it, and it just didn't happen for some reason. It will happen. I also have another idea for a podcast episode that involves a guest, and I crossing my fingers that it will happen. I cannot say the details of it because I don't know if it will happen or not. So I will definitely let you guys know on Facebook and Twitter if it does happen. Again, Facebook, BunnyZine, just BunnyZine on Facebook, @official BunnyZine on Twitter, and official BunnyZine on Instagram. So as I was I read a message on my phone and I was drawing a blank. So again, stay tuned for those podcast episodes. I am also updating you guys now that between I'm taking a 4 or 5 day vacation in October from the 14th. I think it's the 14th through the 18th. 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, I believe those are the days that I am off. I am out of state. My wife and I are taking a much needed vacation. Having family and friends take care of our buns for us, send us pictures and videos and stuff to make sure that they're all good. So there, for the people that follow, I'm not super active on the Instagram. I know I should be. It's just really, really hard to find different picture things to post on there that aren't the e-magazine. But I will not be that. For everyone that follows us on Twitter, thank you. It is the Twitter. If you guys aren't on there, because I think most of the listeners come from more on the Facebook page, you guys should really check out Twitter. There are so many bunnies. There is a large community of bunny pages that are so connected, and we all talk to each other. It's really, really fun. We have conversations just about bunnies and the different, as I'm recording this, it's like World Animal Day, hashtag World Animal Day, or something like that. It's just a very fun and good and loving community on the Twitter. I love interacting with everyone on there. At official BZine on our Twitter page. That's our Twitter handle. You guys should really check that out. Same thing with Instagram. There's a large community of bunny pages that are on there as well. So give us a follow on those as well, guys. as my voice is starting to fade out as it usually does. Again, I would like to thank Tony of Red Door. Again, they do a lot of inspirational work. Look up Red Door Animal Shelter to donate to those guys. It should come up in Chicago, Illinois. That's how you'll know you'll have the right one. So again, Red Door Animal Shelter. Donations. Chicago Exotics does their, the medical work for the bunnies. If you can donate to them, that really helps them out. For everyone that's still listening from the previous podcast, and that debacle, that's the light way I can call it, is a debacle. Thank you for listening. Thank you for still listening. You guys stay tuned for that House Rabbit Society journal episode, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for updates on the show. And make sure you guys download our e-magazine. It's a very fun Halloween edition. It's really, really cool. It's really important when you guys download, when you guys share it, and tell your other bunny friends. It really, really helps Bunny Zion out. And that's it, you guys. You take care. Bye-bye.